Hello everyone, welcome to the fourth lecture of chapter Respiration and Circulation. I am Dongre Eji from SGM College Karat. In previous lecture, we have discussing about mechanism of respiration. So in mechanism of respiration includes four processes. First one is breathing, second one is external respiration, third one is internal respiration, and the last one is that is cellular respiration. So in breathing it has two processes. First one is inspiration and another one is expiration. Then in external respiration, here is we already discussed about the partial pressure of oxygen and partial pressure of carbon dioxide. Then in internal respiration, it has two processes. First one is transportation of oxygen and another one is transportation of carbon dioxide. Then in cellular respiration, again it has two processes. First one is oxidation, another one is phosphorylation. Okay, so in previous lecture we have already completed process of breathing and external respiration. Both these processes we have in previous lecture completed. Then now in today's we understand internal respiration and cellular respiration. So in internal respiration, it shows two processes. First one is transportation of oxygen and another one is transportation of carbon dioxide. This transportation of oxygen carried from lungs through heart to the body tissues or cells. Then transportation of carbon dioxide carried from body tissue through heart to the lungs. Okay. Then in cellular respiration, oxidation process and phosphorylation process has takes place. Okay. Then in today's lecture we start here mechanism of internal respiration. Okay. So see here what is the meaning of internal respiration. So before going to start mechanism of internal respiration, first of all we need to understand here what is the meaning of internal respiration. So in internal respiration, generally this process takes place between tissue fluid and blood in capillaries. This particular respiration process or mechanism of internal respiration process is done. Gases exchange process between tissue fluid and blood in capillaries. This is known as internal respiration. Okay. So in mechanism of internal respiration, oxygen and carbon dioxide is carried with the help of blood. Means blood transport oxygen from a respiratory organ, that is lungs, through heart to the body tissues. Whereas in carbon dioxide from body tissue or cells through heart to the lungs. Okay. Therefore, blood is the medium for transport of gases, that is oxygen and carbon dioxide. So oxygen and carbon dioxide is the transport of gases or the respiratory gases. So these respiratory gases is transport by the blood. So that's why blood is a medium for transport of gases. Okay. Therefore, there are two main components of blood. So in blood there are two main components are present. So that two main components are involved into transport of respiratory gases. that is oxygen and carbon dioxide. So these two components are RBCs and plasma. Okay, so the internal mechanism or the mechanism of internal respiration shows mainly two types of transport. First one is transport of oxygen, another one is transport of carbon dioxide. Both these ways or both these two types we understand here one by one. So the first part we start here, that is the transportation of oxygen. So the total oxygen transported, only 3% of oxygen transported in dissolved state by the plasma. Then remaining 97% oxygen is bound with hemoglobin in present RBC. Okay. So this particular percentage is transported by plasma and RBCs. Okay. So the 3% oxygen is transported in dissolved state by plasma, and remaining 97% oxygen is bound with hemoglobin presence in the RBCs. Okay, so hemoglobin is a respiratory carrier. Hemoglobin is a respiratory carrier, and the hemoglobin contains proteins. Hemoglobin contains a protein. That's why hemoglobin is a amino group. This hemoglobin is a amino group. Then, so we understand here hemoglobin is a respiratory carrier. So that's why this hemoglobin has high affinity of oxygen. So it is a respiratory carrier and it has a high affinity. So force of attraction. So the high attraction for oxygen, that's why it combines and form oxyhemoglobin. So one molecule of hemoglobin combined with 4 molecules of oxygen and then form a oxyhemoglobin. Okay. Then after that, this oxyhemoglobin is transported from lungs to the tissues. So this particular oxyhemoglobin is enter in tissues. At that time, in the tissues, the dissociation of oxyhemoglobin is found. Okay, so this oxyhemoglobin is dissociate and we form hemoglobin separate and oxygen also separate. So here is a partial pressure of oxygen is low. That's why here is a dissociation will be takes place. Okay. So degree of saturation of hemoglobin. तर हिमोग्लोबिनचं सॅच्युरेशन हे ऑक्सिजन सोबत होतंय, परंतु ते काही कंडिशन नुसार होत असतं. सो द डिग्री सॅच्युरेशन ऑफ हिमोग्लोबिन विथ ऑक्सिजन डिपेंड्स अपॉन द ऑक्सिजन टेन्शन, दॅट इज द पार्शियल प्रेशर. So saturation of hemoglobin is depends on the partial pressure of oxygen. Okay. Then the 100% of saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen is rare. Okay. Then the maximum saturation of oxygen with hemoglobin is 95% to 97%. Okay. Then the saturation is decreased. When the saturation is decreased, so there is a drop in partial pressure of oxygen. Means जेव्हा हिमोग्लोबिनचं सॅच्युरेशन हे डिक्रीज होत असतं ऑक्सिजन सोबत, तेव्हा ऑक्सिजनचं पार्शियल प्रेशर हे काय होत असतं, कमी. ज्यावेळेस ऑक्सिजनचं पार्शियल प्रेशर हे डिक्रीज होतं त्यावेळी हिमोग्लोबिनचं सॅच्युरेशन ऑक्सिजन सोबत सुद्धा काय होत असतं, डिक्रीज होतंय, कमी होते. ओके. देन ॲट 30 mmHg ऑफ पार्शियल प्रेशर ऑफ ऑक्सिजन इट 50% सॅच्युरेशन. ओके. जेव्हा ऑक्सिजनचं पार्शियल प्रेशर हे किती असतं 30 mmHg, तेव्हा हिमोग्लोबिनचं जे सॅच्युरेशन असतं ऑक्सिजन सोबत तर किती असणार 50%. ओके. देन what is the oxygen dissociation curve? The relationship between oxyhemoglobin saturation and oxygen tension, that is partial pressure of oxygen, is called as oxygen dissociation curve. Again, what is the meaning of oxygen dissociation curve? The relationship between oxyhemoglobin saturation and partial pressure of oxygen. It is known as oxygen dissociation curve. Okay. Then see here, it is the oxygen dissociation curve. This graph shows the oxygen dissociation curve. So in this part, here is in x axis, here is shows oxygen partial pressure mmHg, and in y axis here it shows a hemoglobin with oxygen saturation. Okay, so see here, this is the hemoglobin with oxygen saturation and here is the oxygen partial pressure. So in this graph, here is a oxyhemoglobin dissociation curve is sigmoid curve. This is the sigmoid curve. Okay, so this particular oxygen dissociation curve is sigmoid curve. Okay, then it is shift towards the right due to, so okay, this oxyhemoglobin dissociation curve is shifted towards the right side. Why this oxyhemoglobin dissociation curve is shifted towards the right side? Because increase in hydrogen ion concentration, increase in partial pressure of carbon dioxide and temperature, and the rise in DPG-2,3 diphosphoglycerate. So what is the DPG? Diphosphoglycerate. So it is the glycolysis process. It is the glycolysis process. So what is the glycolysis? When breakdown of glucose and then formation of DPG in RBCs. DPG means glycolysis. So amount of glycolysis is rise. There is the oxygen dissociation curve is shifted right side. When oxygen dissociation is low, so the sigmoid curve shifted towards the left side. Okay, so see here, here is the normal carbon dioxide pH. So the saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen is normal. It is normal, but when carbon dioxide partial pressure is low, so saturation of oxygen with hemoglobin is high. So see here, this is the curve and this curve shifted the left side. This curve shifted towards the left side and the upward side. Okay, then see here, high partial pressure of carbon dioxide. So there is a saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen is. Now next part is, that is Bohr's effect. What is the Bohr's effect? So it is the shift of oxyhemoglobin dissociation. Bohr's effect काय म्हणतोय की हा ऑक्सीहिमोग्लोबिन डिसोसिएशन कर्व आहे आणि हा ऑक्सीहिमोग्लोबिन डिसोसिएशन कर्व चेंज होतोय आणि तो चेंज कधी होणार, त्याच्यावर इफेक्ट कधी होतोय, ड्यू टू चेंज इन पार्शियल प्रेशर ऑफ कार्बन डायऑक्साइड इन ब्लड. तर ब्लडमधील कार्बन डायऑक्साईडचे जे पार्शियल प्रेशर आहे ते जेव्हा चेंज होणार त्यावेळी ऑक्सीहिमोग्लोबिन डिसोसिएशन कर्व हा काय होतो, शिफ्टेड होतो right side or the left side. That effect is known as Bohr's effect. But in Bohr's effect, here is a curve shifted in right side. Okay. Then see here, again we understand here, in normal position of partial pressure of carbon dioxide, at that time saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen is normal. But when the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is low, at that time saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen is high. Okay. Then when partial pressure of carbon dioxide is high, at that time saturation of hemoglobin and oxygen is low. So okay, then now next one is Haldane effect. So in this effect, oxyhemoglobin function as an acid. So in blood there is a number of hydrogen ions increase, as well as bicarbonate ions changes into water and CO2. At that time oxyhemoglobin function as an acidic, so it decreases pH of blood. So here is decrease in pH of blood. At that time this curve is shifted left side. Then now see here in this diagram, here is the position of alveoli as well as in particularly tissues. Okay, alveoli as well as tissue. Here is the whole process are shown in tissues as well as alveoli. So in alveoli, where partial pressure of oxygen is high and partial pressure of carbon dioxide is low, so at that time oxygen binds with hemoglobin. Okay. So, but in tissues where partial pressure of oxygen is low and partial pressure of carbon dioxide is high, so at that time hemoglobin does not hold as much as oxygen. So in this process the result is it releases oxygen for diffusion into the tissue cells. Okay, so this process we understand more effectively with the help of this video. So we watch this video.
Hemoglobin is the blood binds with oxygen to form oxyhemoglobin. Hemoglobin is red colored iron containing proteins. Each hemoglobin molecule can carry 4 molecules of oxygen. The binding of oxygen with hemoglobin is influenced by factors such as partial pressure of oxygen and carbon dioxide, hydrogen ions concentration and temperature. The percentage saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen, if plotted against the partial pressure of oxygen, results in sigmoid curve called the oxygen dissociation curve. This curve is used to study of effect of factors such as partial pressure of carbon dioxide and hydrogen ion concentration on the binding of oxygen with hemoglobin. Alveoli are more available to the formation of oxyhemoglobin as we have high oxygen partial pressure, low carbon dioxide partial pressure, smaller of hydrogen ion concentration and lower temperature. On the other hand, tissues are available to the dissociation of oxygen from oxyhemoglobin as they have low oxygen partial pressure, high carbon dioxide partial pressure, high hydrogen ion concentration and high temperature. Therefore, oxygen combines with hemoglobin on the surface of lungs and gets dissociated in the tissue.
So in the mechanism of internal respiration, we understand second part, that is the transportation of carbon dioxide. How carbon dioxide is transported from tissue cells through heart to the lungs. Okay, so carbon dioxide is readily soluble in water and transported by RBCs and plasma in 3 different forms. So we understand here carbon dioxide is readily soluble in water. Okay, that's why this carbon dioxide is transported by RBCs and plasma. So these RBCs and plasma we see here in three different forms. So carbon dioxide is transported 7% by plasma. Then about 70% carbon dioxide is transported by bicarbonate ions, and third way is 23% carbon dioxide is transported by red blood cells. These three parts we understand here one by one. So the first part is 7% carbon dioxide is transported by plasma in solution form. So about 7% of carbon dioxide is transported in dissolved state by plasma as carbonic acid. Okay, so see here, this is the carbonic acid. Okay, this is the carbonic acid. So when carbon dioxide combined with water, at that time we form carbonic acid. Then again this carbonic acid is dissociate. After dissociation of carbonic acid, we get a carbon dioxide and oxygen. Okay, then now next part is carbon dioxide is transported by bicarbonate ions. So 70% of carbon dioxide released by tissue cells diffuses into the plasma and RBCs. When 70% carbon dioxide released by the tissue cells, at that time this 70% carbon dioxide diffuse into the plasma and then afterwards RBCs. Okay, so in the RBCs, so first we see here in the RBCs CO2 combines with water in presence of zinc containing enzymes. So zinc containing enzymes mean zinc containing carbonic anhydrate enzymes. So in presence of zinc containing carbonic anhydrase, so there is a we get a carbonic acid. Okay, so after carbonic acid is unstable, so the carbonic acid is unstable and dissociate into bicarbonate. Okay, and hydrogen ions in presence of zinc containing carbonic acid enzyme. So see here, carbon dioxide plus H2O, both they combines in presence of zinc containing carbonic anhydrate enzymes to form carbonic acid. Then again this carbonic acid dissociate in presence of zinc containing carbonic anhydrate enzyme to form hydrogen ion separate and bicarbonate ion separate. Okay. Then now next part is chloride shift or Hamburger's phenomena. What is the chloride shift or Hamburger's phenomena? So the maintain the ionic balance between the RBCs and the plasma. So the ionic balance we maintain between the RBCs and the plasma. Plasma आणि RBC मध्ये जे ionic balance आहे ते ionic balance maintain करण्यासाठी chloride diffuses into the RBC. So this chloride ion is transport from the plasma. So plasma is transport chloride ions and these chloride ions diffuse into the RBCs. Why? Because it maintains the ionic balance. Okay, this movement of chloride ions is known as chloride shift or Hamburger's phenomenon. Okay, then this bicarbonate is transported as bicarbonates of sodium or potassium to lungs. Okay, see here, when bicarbonate is combined with sodium to form sodium bicarbonate. When HCO3 is combined with potassium, at that time we get a potassium bicarbonate. Okay, then see here, hydrogen ion is taken up by protein. As I said, protein or the hemoglobin contains proteins. Okay, so at that time hemoglobin combined with hydrogen ions and this hydrogen ion reduced with the help of hemoglobin. Okay, then now next at the level of lungs. So at the level of lungs, hydrogen and HCO3 recombines. Again hydrogen ion and HCO3 is recombined and forms carbonic acid and release CO2. Okay. So see here, hydrogen ions and HCO3 recombine in presence of zinc containing carbonic acid anhydrase enzyme. So to form H2CO3 carbonic acid, then again this carbonic acid dissociate in presence of zinc containing carbonic anhydrase enzyme to form or to release carbon dioxide and water. Okay. Then now third part is by red blood cells. So in red blood cells, about 23% of carbon dioxide is transported from tissue to the lungs by hemoglobin as carbaminohemoglobin. So these molecules decompose in a region where the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is low, that is alveolar region, releasing the carbon dioxide. Okay. So see here, about the 20% of carbon dioxide is transported from tissue. From the tissue, it is transport 23% of carbon dioxide to the lungs, and these lungs by hemoglobin. Okay. After that, after combined hemoglobin get a carbaminohemoglobin. So hemoglobin is a protein containing molecule. So these proteins is contain a amino group. So that's why we form a carbaminohemoglobin. Then see here, hemoglobin combine with oxygen and we form carbaminohemoglobin. Then again carbaminohemoglobin dissociate where we get or release carbon dioxide and hemoglobin separate. This is the alveolar region. So this whole process takes place by the process of diffusion. Again we understand here what is the meaning of diffusion. So the movement of gases from a region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration till equilibrium reach. दोन्ही साईडचं जे कन्सन्ट्रेशन आहे ते कन्सन्ट्रेशन बॅलन्स होत नाही तोपर्यंत डिफ्युजन प्रोसेस ही कंटिन्यू असते. देन understand here, this is the particular diagram of carbon dioxide transportation process. Okay, so this carbon dioxide transportation process we understand with the help of this video. So watch this video.
Now let's understand how carbon dioxide is transported from tissues to alveoli. Carbon dioxide is carried by hemoglobin in blood as carbaminohemoglobin. The binding of carbon dioxide and hemoglobin is high in tissues when carbon dioxide partial pressure is high and oxygen partial pressure is low. On the other hand, when carbon dioxide partial pressure is low and oxygen partial pressure is high, has an alveolar dissociation of carbon dioxide from carbaminohemoglobin takes place. On the other hand, the carbonic anhydrase enzymes present red blood cells and plasma facilitate diffusion in tissues and alveoli. In tissues, whether partial pressure of carbon dioxide is high, with diffuses into the RBCs and plasma to form bicarbonate ions and hydrogen ions. In alveoli, where partial pressure of carbon dioxide is low, carbon dioxide and water are formed. Thus, carbon dioxide trapped it by carbonate in RBCs is transported to the alveoli and release carbon dioxide. To every 100 millimeter of deoxygenated blood, hemoglobin release approximate 4 millimeter of carbon dioxide to the alveoli.
So, the next mechanism of respiration is cellular respiration. That is the last or fourth mechanism, that is cellular respiration. So, it is the last step taking place inside the cell where food is oxidized and ATP is generated. Okay, so in this process here is a inside the cell. So this process is done inside the cell where food is oxidized and ATP is generated. So in this mechanism here is the two processes are takes place. First one is oxidation, that is breaking down of complex organic molecules into the simple inorganic molecules with release of heat energy. So oxidation process here is a complex organic molecules. So the complex organic molecules means carbohydrate like food material, proteins like or fats like. These are the complex organic molecules. So these complex organic molecules break down into simple inorganic molecules. This is the simple inorganic molecules with release of heat energy. So after combination or after oxidation, we get or release a heat energy, and this releasing energy 686 kilocalorie. Then another one is phosphorylation. It involves trapping the heat energy in the form of high energy bond of ATP molecules. So this ATP molecule is used to carry our vital life processes. Then that's why it is known as energy currency of cells. So the ATP is the currency of energy. Okay, so here is mechanism of respiration is completed. Then next part we will discuss in next lecture.